Giving without expectation, super easy for me. Being vulnerable and asking for help, impossible. Real weakness of mine. You know, I struggle with that question. You know, the truth is, God, it's really hard. Like, I was so trained. You know, I was a first generation immigrant where my mom's like, you take care of your sister at 4. So I'm like, all right. I'm a fucking 4-year-old and I'm like, I'm in work mode, right? My dad's not around. I'm my mom's partner in crime. I start working at 14. I become the financial impact to my whole family at 18. I don't really have like the capacity or like the training to understand how to ask for help, nor the other so you've got all that framework. Here's the more complicated part. The truth is, I'm uncomfortably simple. Like, something that I think would surprise you if you really, really knew me is how detached I am from my own success. It's really weird to me, but like, I'm almost like, what the fuck? Like, I don't really get validation or affirmation from my career. That's why I called it Be Friends. I am more in tune with getting like validation from like being a nice person and building friends than I do of like making money or this and that. Like, so like, it's weird. Like, I'm trying to push myself, right? I've learned to be better at candor. Spoke about that in the book that some of you have a lot of copies of. And the thing I'm trying to be better at is being vulnerable and asking for help. But the truth is, like, where I'm getting caught up is it's just good for me. Meaning, like, it's simple. Like, I'm not overly struggling with anything. Like the thing that makes me the happiest is for you to be happy. You know, like, honestly, like, what can you do for me? Buy and sell VeeFriends when you want to, not based on anything I do, right? You be accountable to you. I'm out here doing my thing, you do you. Like, you know what I mean? Like, simplicity, but it's very sweet of you. I'm very grateful for that question. Honestly, like, listen to what I'm saying in my content. You wanna make me happy? Go act on the shit that I'm talking about, because everybody here would be a lot happier. What I would tell you, brother, is you gotta stay consistent down the line and realize sometimes it's gonna go well and sometimes it's not. And like, what I did poorly was I didn't tell people feedback and then I surprised them, even though they sucked, and I blamed it on them for not being self-aware, but it was my fault. My advice is to really find your balance of giving people feedback, and then, you know, to me, what we're trying to do at Vayner, what I'm trying to do is like, the third time I'm giving feedback, I'm like, hey, like, I'm gonna really need to see a change. Or like, this may not end up a way, like really setting up like, hey, if we're gonna talk a 4th time, this is probably gonna, and so like, people are not as surprised anymore, and it's really been healthy for us. It's stunning how much this was a weakness of mine. My personal life failures, my professional life failures, the candor has been an issue. The learning is stay consistent. Some things are gonna work out, but if you stay consistent, they'll all come back to you in a good way. Yeah, don't have a kind candor firing without feedback before you did it. Think of like, I know baseball's not big in this country, but like, think of it as 3 strikes, you're out, right? Have the first talk and be like, hey, there's some stuff going on. Everybody you work with doesn't like you. And that can't be all of their faults. Let's talk about it. Most people are gonna be defensive. Oh, you don't fucking know, Rick and Sally and Junior are terrible. I'm like, okay. A couple months later, I'm like, well, Rick, Junior and Sally don't work for you anymore, and Carol, Susie, and Juan think you're a piece of shit too. So we got a problem here. You know what I mean? You start building, so that. Why kind candor is important is if you're just kind and not candorous with family, there's a very big chance that you can end up resenting him. If he's not good and you just carry him because he's your nephew, you're gonna build resentment. And I've worked with family my whole life, both my brother-in-laws, my brother, my dad, respect. You know, I think a couple things. One, candor is gonna matter because you gotta be careful. You know, right now he's crushing what he's doing, but you know, you guys are both gonna keep growing. And we all, me included, we all have ceilings. And so candor matters. I think the other thing is, the thing that has worked for me is I just don't value the money more than the family. My brother and my dad got way more value out of our relationships than I did financially. And there's parts of it that I have resentment for, but I realized in my older age that was because I couldn't communicate. if I said something, maybe they would have adjusted, but I didn't, right? And so over communicating, not valuing the dollar more than the relationship, and realizing, and here's the big one, and I always knew this, and it happened. By the way, I don't work with either of my brother or my dad in a real way right now, right? I always knew that it didn't have to be forever, and that there was a gracious way for it to stop. And so you guys might work together for 17 glorious years, but maybe then he wants to do something, you know, like you might want to do different things. So I would say that family over money, gotta find a way to communicate in case there's, you know, resentment, and knowing that it doesn't have to be forever. You know, I think a lot of times when people think family, it's like blood for life. But like, you're both very young. Really, no bullshit. I love you so much. I'll tell you why. You're taking control. Even saying that out loud in front of us, you're subconsciously doing the right stuff. I'm proud of you. You have to understand, everything good is when you put it into the light. You just talked in front of 50 fucking people about your concern about it, which means you're in control or in the process of being in control of it. When I started talking about kind candor, a lot of you followed me for a long time. There's no candor talk prior to the book. Once I started talking about it, I was like, got you. You understand? Everything every person here is scared about: weight, hair, age, income, relationship, a skeleton in your closet. The second you put that motherfucker into the world, you got control. Every second that you're keeping it in some sort of closet, it's got control. The answer to your question is, you've already won. You just gotta go through the motions. You just put it out, you're already there, you know? It's really good, I'm really happy for you. Like I do that a lot, what you just did. And it's powerful, you know? It's 8 Mile, Eminem. If you put out the comment about your lines, nobody else can put out the comment about your lines. I'm proud of you, it's really good. And I hope you, and I'm really happy that you did it, because it allowed me to talk for the last 2 minutes about it. And I know every single person here has got something, because we're humans. We all got something, we really do. And you know, some of it's small and petty and silly and you're dealing with it very easily, but if you're dealing with something that's really bothering you, fucking make that video.